Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Ram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirajet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Ukam Karoti Vachalam Pranagayatim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurudentaranam Parmanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our reading, and today we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, chapter titled Karma Yoga, and the 27th verse is what we're going to take today. Prakritiya kriyamanani guna karmani sarvachaha ahankara vibhudatma kartaham iti manyate. Prakritiya kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvachaha ahankara vibhudatma kartaham iti manyate. Prakritiya kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvachaha ahankara vibhudatma kartaham iti manyate. One or two devotees would like to chant the shloka. Happy to hear them. Prakatiya kriyamanani karmani sarvashaha.
One more. Just comfortable.
It's Prakatiya kriyamanani kartaham iti manyate. Word-to-word translation. Prakriti of the material nature, kriyamanani being done, gunai by the modes, karmani activities, sarvasaha all kinds of, ahankara vibudha bewildered by false ego, Atma, the spirit soul, Karta, doer, Aham, I, Iti, thus, Manyate, he thinks. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Please repeat the translation. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Purport. Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all the credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptoms of his nescience. He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets that Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body, for due to his long misuse of the senses and sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas present here. I have some of my very old good friends. Prabhu's here. So happy to see him. And I'm sure a lot of other senior Vaishnavas are also here.
You disconnected?
Yeah, I've disconnected it because my class is on the other. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you very much. And I pray at the lotus feet of everybody present here that you please pray for me and bless me so that I can speak whatever is given in our Shastras, whatever has been the bona fide scriptures, and I don't speak anything other than that. The whole logic of today's verse is going to be based only on you do your work. And this is the underlying statement. You do your work, but you are not the doer. Now somebody will say, how is that I do my work and I am not the doer? Is it possible? Is it practical? Yes, that's how it is. So keep this at the back of your mind, that at the end of the session that we discussed today, you will agree saying that we all do our work, but we are still not the doer. Okay? So all the activities are actually done by the material nature. It's done by the material modes of nature, or it is done by the material nature, which is Prakriti. And there are three modes of material nature, Sattva, Rajo and Tamoguna. Under this is what everything is happening. And because the material nature's qualities, it has been carried out by Prakriti. Ahankara Vidugatma. Because of the Ahankar, the individual Ahankars that we have, the pride that we have, the ego that we have. And it's actually false ego. If you have a true ego, that's actually very good. But this, because of the false ego, the person thinks I'm doing everything. No, he says, Kartaham, I'm the doer of everything. No, that's not the fact. Egoistic person thinks everything is done by him because he thinks that nobody else does anything. And he feels that he is the doer. We are also doers. Yeah, the work is done by you, but you're not the only doer. So let's take an example, a very simple example of a building, construction of a big building. So, can the chief engineer take the credit of saying that I have built this? Yeah, he would have contributed to the design of the whole structure. He would have contributed to the designing and the small minor detailing which is required for the construction. He would have thought about the HVAC, he would have talked about the plumbing, he would have talked about, or he would have thought about and put on papers the electrical part of it. He would have thought of everything. But at the end, if he says, I am the doer, it's not possible. Without the brick, without the concrete, without the cement, is it possible to construct that building? Not possible. Okay, fine. You have access to all of that. And that's because of the nature. Yeah. Can you get, cement otherwise? No. It's the nature, earth, which is giving you. Prakriti is giving you all of that. Fine, you've made arrangements for all these items of construction. But without the workers, without the masons, without the plumbers, without the electricians, is it possible to put all of them in place? So yes, you can claim that you are the doer, but you're not the doer to the extreme, you're not doer to the end. You are seeking help from somebody else to ensure that the structure comes up, which is very important. If others are not there, he would only put it on the drawing board and say, I am the doer. No, it's not possible. The building would not come up. The big commercial complex or a big building would not come up at all. So, it is very important for somebody to understand that when you say you are the doer, yes, you may be one of the doers or you may be a part of the doer work, but you're not everything. And when the task is completed, there are many people which are involved into it. Yeah. If I say that this temple hall was built by one person, not practical. All of you have come together. Raju Prabhu has put in so much of efforts. Vidur Madhav Prabhu has put in some efforts. Sandila Rishi Prabhu would have contributed some time. Other devotees, I don't know everybody's name, so I may not be able to spell that out, but I'm sure everybody sitting in the temple hall has contributed. So today, a single person cannot take the credit saying that I am the doer. There are others who are coming together, and that's why we are able to do it. So it's one who does the plan and there are others who come together to execute it. And Prakriti has created and supplied us with all the material that is required to make this temple ready or make this hall ready or make this preaching center ready. Now there are three doers if we really look at this. One is Jiva. Yeah, it is very clearly given in the shloka. The second one is the Lord who actually sanctions. Jiva actually desires, the Lord sanctions, and Prakriti is the facilitator. So these are three distinct things in the shloka very clearly talked about, saying that the Jiva has to desire, the Lord has to sanction, and the Prakriti has to execute it or facilitate it. Only an egoistic person takes the credit for his complete work. A person who's sane person, a person who's in Krishna Consciousness or a person who's level-headed will never take credit for doing everything. Even in offices we see, when the boss says that I have done everything, the team gets demotivated. Yeah. Even in our commercial dealings, when we are dealing with people, and if you say I have done everything to claim the credit, or you say I am the doer, then you demotivate your team and next time you will not get that same support. So the easiest way out of this is that you say, my team has done it, I was a part of the team. Everybody gets the credit, everybody gets that additional enthusiasm to perform next time, or maybe do it better next time. So that's the way that works, and only an egoistic person takes the credit for everything. We should appreciate everybody's contribution to whatever we are doing. And at the end of, towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, 63rd verse, Krishna tells this to Arjuna. He says, Yatya ichchasi tatha kuru. Whatever is your desire, you do it. Krishna doesn't tell him do this or do that. Yeah, we've read this in Bhagavad Gita. Since Krishna gives that freedom to Arjuna. saying that I've given you all the knowledge, I've given you everything, I've laid everything down for you, but then it's your desire, it is your ichcha. Please do it as per your ichcha. And that verse, the purport goes like this. Thus, no, okay, we will just read the translation. Thus, I have explained you the knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and do what you wish to do. Do what you wish to do is something very underlining. Krishna doesn't tell you that do this or do that. He gives you the process. In an organization, your boss will never tell you that do this or do that. He gives you the process. He says this is the way that we do things. You decide what you want to do. You are an intelligent, educated and qualified person. Yeah. So Krishna says, then do what you wish to do. And Krishna says, I gave you the independence and you do whatever you want to do. Krishna actually is supremely independent. And as jivas, we are minutely independent. If you all think I can do whatever I want to do, no, not possible. If you say I will drive my car at the speed of 140, you cannot drive because the roads are bad, the local laws don't permit you to drive at that speed. So there are various factors. So we are minutely independent, whereas Krishna is completely independent. He is supremely independent. And he does not interfere into that minute independence that he has given to us. He allows us to take decisions. And one reason that we are all here on this planet Earth is because we used our independence. And we said, I want to be independent of Krishna. I want to be the boss. I want to be the Lord. And he says, Tathastu. Like a very good father or a very, let's say, greatest father, he allows the son to do everything despite telling him, saying that this is not good. But he wants him to experience. And when the son comes crying to him, the father is there to console him. Father is there to help him. That way, Krishna gives you the independence and he does not interfere into your independence. He gives us the autonomy. Arjuna, after that, in Bhagavad Gita says, Karishye tava, vachanam tava. In 18.73, he says, I will do what you will. Whatever is your desire. He says, I will accordingly act as you say to Krishna. But not everybody does that. Krishna was given these words by Arjuna because Arjuna was a great devotee of the Lord. He was his devotee, so that's why he said, I will do whatever you want me to do. He is not the doer. But he is fighting because Krishna said that I have given you the process and I feel you should fight. And then Arjuna takes it up. If you see, Arjuna was also very nicely trained in the warfare. He knew how to use the different kinds of, arrows, bows, sword, whatever you take. And he was also very knowledgeable. He was very qualified. And he is going as per what Krishna is saying here. Yeah? In the next verse in Bhagavad Gita, that I am taking from Bhagavad Gita, is 11.33. Krishna says to Arjuna, says, Nimitta matram bhava savesachi. You are just an instrument. You are not the doer. Things have all really happened. Arjuna was lamenting on the battlefield, saying that, how can I kill my cousins? How can I kill my near dear ones? How can I shoot arrows on my uncle? How can I shoot arrows on my guru who has taught me this vidya? He says, you are just becoming an instrument. All that has already happened. I have already taken care of all that. And the verse 11.33 that we were discussing, the translation goes like this: therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. This is Krishna speaking about this. And you, O Savesachi, that's another name of Arjuna, can be put an instrument in the fight. So you're just an instrument in the fight. So don't have to really worry about, he's my uncle, he's my guru. No. So here, Krishna very clearly defines in 11.33 saying that I am the doer and you are not the doer. He very clearly tells Arjuna that I am doing everything. You are just becoming an instrument. And if we feel that Arjuna is the doer, we still have an argument saying that no, actually if you see, the arrows were fired by Arjuna. Yes, Arjuna is the doer because of Krishna. He is not independently a doer. So Krishna has done everything, Arjuna becomes an independent instrument and he executes it. So he is a doer, but he is not independent of Krishna. A lot of people say that, no, I have done this, especially our politicians. I have done this for the country, I have done that for the country. But a devotee always says, whatever happens, happens because of Krishna. And many times when people ask devotees, how are you doing? What would be the answer? What would be the answer? The question is, when people ask you, how are you doing? What do you answer? Yes, that's how devotees are trained. You can always say, I'm doing great, I'm fine. But then devotees say, I'm doing well because the will of Krishna. Yeah? I'm doing well because Krishna has been kind on me. Otherwise, I had no qualification that today I will be doing so well. It is because Krishna has been very kind on me, I'm doing it. Or I'm doing well. So, we connecting that. So, in Krishna consciousness, devotees become very humble and give everything to Krishna and give all the credit to Krishna. There's a very nice story. This is sometime right in the initial days of ISKCON. This is about Subal Maharaj, Vishnujan Maharaj, Brahmanand Prabhu, again Maharaj that time, and I think it was Gargamuni Maharaj. They were all initiated by Srila Prabhupada. And Indradyumna Maharaj, who was not initiated that time, he was not even a devotee. He was called Brian, and he finds this 4 Maharajas there in the park singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and just gets interested and says, I have a house, why don't you come and stay with me? So he says, yeah, absolutely fine, we will go. And they go to his room that he had, a small apartment that Brian had. And so the habit of our devotees or all the Maharaj was, whatever they say, whatever Indradyumna Maharaj asked or Brian asked, he says, it's all because of Krishna. He was amazed. He says, what are you talking? Every time that see, this is before he became a devotee. So your conversation with people outside will also be something very similar to it. When you tell people, it's all because of Krishna's mercy, they look around and say, where is Krishna? Yeah, we find many people who question such way. Where is Krishna? How is he helping you? When you say, my family is doing well because of Krishna's mercy, they'll say, where is Krishna? Is he coming and giving you ration? No. But so devotees, Subal Maharaj and Brahmanand Maharaj and Vishnujan Maharaj and Gargamuni Maharaj, they would say Krishna's mercy. Krishna will organize for everything. Yeah. So while they were in the park chanting the holy name, he said, Srila Prabhupada has desired that, I should get a pair of shoes. Because those days, now ISKCON has a lot of temples and we have a lot of devotees, but those days, very few devotees. So, he says, Prabhupada has desired that, he wanted a pair of shoes for walking. And so Brian said, what are you going to do? He says, Krishna will make the arrangement. So Brian was nearly taken aback, saying that, for everything this guy said, Krishna will take care of it, Krishna will make arrangements. And while doing that, while they are chanting in the park, there are a lot of hippies who come there. And there's one hippie who comes holding a pair of shoes. And the size is exactly 9. We have the size of the shoes, 9. And this conversation happened, so he comes and says, the shoes are useless because it's not of my size. So, is there anybody who wants it? This is a real life experience. Huh? It's not a concocted story. It was told to me by another devotee. He says, this is a 9 size shoes, and it's of no use to me because it doesn't fit my size. The CP comes and goes. So Vishnujan Maharaj raises his hands and says, yes, I would like to take it. And when he gets it, he tells our Brian, saying that, see, Krishna has arranged it. So many people don't believe it, saying that it is all Krishna's mercy, but it is actually Krishna's mercy. If you go back to your life, your personal life, there are many incidents which have happened, which you would have never thought. You're just waiting and suddenly you get an offer letter from a very good company. Yeah. You're just waiting and your son really gets into a good college or a good school. You're just thinking and praying to Krishna saying that this should happen. And it happens. So what do you call this? Do you call your own efforts, your child's efforts, saying that he scored 97%? No. This is all because of Krishna's mercy, and it is very evident that we are not the doer, it is Krishna who is the doer. We are just the instruments in whatever we are doing. At the same time, we should not be greedy to take the credit all by ourselves. A real life example of another devotee whose children were, very good at their material education. And he would proudly say that, my children are going to the best possible schools and kind of things. And I remember this very distinctly, that this devotee's son cleared 12th standard with good marks. And he scored 97% in this one, and he wanted to get into the best of the colleges. And the cutoff in that college was 99.5. Yeah. In our days, 99.5 and all was only temperature. Now it is all scores. In my life, I have never heard of 99.5 or 97, 98. It used to be our body temperature when you get fever. But these days, children get that kind of marks. And the cutoff was 99.5. And this devotee's pride, greed, took a backswing when he heard the cutoff was 99.5. He said, what is the use of my son studying so hard and putting all the efforts and getting 97.5%? Yeah, this is a very practical example. Most of us think about it. What is the point? And then the conversation happens, and after a couple of days, he comes back and he discusses with the devotee, saying that my son got into the college, into the same college that he wanted. And he says it is only because of Krishna's mercy that he got into it. I don't know how his name came in the second list, but the cutoff was 99.5%. So, the first part of the story says he was greedy, saying that my children are studying very well, and 97 is a score where my children can very easily get into any best of the colleges. And the jolt comes when you are greedy, saying that I have done, my children have done. The jolt comes saying that the cutoff is 99.5%. And then the prayers work. And in the second list, there was a time in between, about 10-12 days between the first list and the second list. So he was praying to the Lord, saying that, Lord, I know I have become greedy, but please help me. But this doesn't mean that, you ask your children to score very low and then say, okay, Krishna, please do it. No, please don't do it. We have to put our efforts. Our children have to put their efforts. And yes, there are certain areas, then you can always ask your children. You can also be very dependent on Krishna. So the second part of the story says he became dependent on Krishna, and his child got admission into that college that he was looking at. So the whole crux of this discussion is saying that never ever become greedy, but at the same time have faith in Krishna. Don't think that you are the doer, but still keep doing whatever you have to do. Your children have to study. Yeah, they have to take the material education which is required. So people should not become greedy. Likewise, everybody has got their own capabilities. Every creature which is made has got its own capabilities. Human beings have their own capabilities. Like the vultures and the eagles can fly very high, human beings cannot fly that high. Like crows can fly a little lower. Peacocks cannot even fly to the level that the crows fly. So everybody has got their own capabilities and their capacities. But we have to understand that every living entity is created by Krishna with some purpose. So different people can do different things as per their own sanctions from the Lord. One should not feel really great saying that I am a human being so I can do a lot of things. There are other living entities which do not have capability of speaking, or they do not have hands to do the way that I can drive my car or a scooter. So the contribution is of many in whatever we do today. They are contributing everything, but Prakriti is helping us. So, therefore, at the end, I would like to conclude. I know we're running on time today. We started a little late, but I would still want to conclude as per the time. First is we have to be very grateful. I want all of you to note this in your mind. We have to be very grateful to Krishna for whatever he has done. We don't have to become proud of our success. We don't have to take the pride saying that I am educated and others are not educated. No. Or I have got the success. I work with a big organization. I run a big business. So don't become very proud of the success. Third one is, at the same time, don't become depressed by failures. There's a shloka in Bhagavad Gita which says that heat and cold are a part of season, and one who is equipoised should go through it equally. He shouldn't really feel disturbed when it is hot, or should not feel disturbed when it is very cold. Take it as it comes. There's no problem. So don't become depressed by failures. Success will bring in some kind of joy, and failures will bring in some kind of dejections. But it has to be under limits. You may feel joy, but then take it lightly, in that yes, this could be because of my previous lifetime karmas. Don't say I have become successful and not acknowledging the efforts of the others, not acknowledging the hand of the Lord who's made it happen. Without his sanction, nothing really goes through. And at the end, one should not say that I am the only doer. Because when you say that I am the doer, I am the only doer, then comes I am the enjoyer, then comes I take pride in doing whatever I am doing, I become self-obsessed, I crave for credit for whatever I do, I don't acknowledge anybody's presence, nor do I have any gratitude, and there is no teamwork. At the same time, if you make a little change in your acceptance and you say, I am not the only doer. So there's a very fine line which defines, I am the only doer. And you say, I am not the only doer. You still take the credit, I am still the doer. But when you do that, when you say, I am not the only doer, then you enjoy. Yeah, you are also the enjoyer. You take the credit of it and you share the credit with others. And you are a humble person. You are also Krishna conscious. You are sharing the joy of success. You are sharing the gratitude for what Krishna has given you. At the same time, you are a team worker. Today, Raju Prabhu doesn't claim that this center runs just because of me. Vidur Madhav Prabhu doesn't say that, the southern runs because of me. When they share, or when they say, I am not the only doer, then they are a team player. That's how all of you are coming together. When they say, I am the doer, I don't think you will find anybody in the hall here today. Prabhu has to alone do the deity worship, he has to alone do the cooking, he has to alone fund the running of the center. So as devotees, it is very important for us to give the credit to others and have gratitude towards Krishna. And then I would like to conclude this by saying that you do the work, but you are not the doer. I end my points here in case if there are any questions. I know I had to rush through it because we're a little short time. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have any doubts, happy to clarify them. Or if you have any comments, please go ahead and make the comments. Any questions? So there are only two things. If you have a question, that means you've tried to understand. And if you have no questions, there are two things that can happen. Either you've understood everything or you've not understood anything. So I leave the judgment to your best logical reasoning. And I pray at the lotus feet of Jagannath, Baldev, Subramai, Sri Radha Madhav, that they give you enough bhakti that we start realizing that I'm not the only doer. Yeah. So continue doing whatever you're doing. You work for whatever you're working, but don't say that I'm the only doer. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Appreciate your time on a Sunday evening. It's not easy to spare time and come and hear about Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and associate with devotees. So if you've come here, I'm sure you realize the value of bhakti. I wish and pray that you continue your Krishna consciousness, your bhakti. Get more people associated with the center here. It's a beautiful place, very nicely done up, very nicely maintained, very nicely organized. And may you go back home, back to Godhead. That's our place where we belong to. Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai ki, Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki, Shri Shri Panchatattva Bhagavan ki jai, Suprabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Latai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much.